Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our webinar. It's a great pleasure to be with you all today, at least remotely. We will go through a brief introduction. Then we'll talk about the top 4 AI use cases that we currently observe on the market. And at the end of the webinar, we will let you know additional dates for our detailed workshops that are actually an extension of this one. With us today, we have 2 ladies from our partner organization, Databricks, Ellie and Camilla. Welcome. My name is Bob, and I will be joined by David a little later on. So first, let us start with the introduction of Databricks. And here I hand over to our ladies.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Bob. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Databricks, we are the data analytics platform. So we were founded by a group of data specialists and AI innovators from UC Berkeley. The premise of Databricks is essentially to collaborate and allow for an open, simple platform for entire data teams to work on. So our founders created Apache Spark, and Databricks has grown on to extend its platform to not just data engineering, but to the data science and BI and data analyst team as well, which we will definitely explore a little bit further in relation to financial services through this presentation.
Hopefully you guys can hear me. So Ellie Tucker, also from Databricks, and what we're finding with customers who truly leverage the power of the cloud, data analytics and machine learning is that they actually see themselves differentiating themselves against their peers. So there was an interesting study done by Morgan Stanley last year, which they called What Technology Works, and it's all around investing in technology in order to deliver true differentiation. And what we find through the Databricks 30, which is customers across the 5 verticals that we do the most work with, is that they really are kind of differentiating themselves and delivering a more stable stock price and market leading, which is leading to a 21-point elevation, I guess, against the S&P 500 stock market.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Camilla and Ellie, for the quick intro. And now about DataSentics. So we are an AI studio, and the goal is to make the data science and machine learning to have a real impact on organizations. Unlike the consulting studies that once they're done, they are kept on a shelf. We have about 100 plus data scientists and data science engineers, and we grouped into 5 tribes that are looking after different areas and sectors. The first one is PX, personalized experience, that helps financial service institutions to overcome the challenge of becoming irrelevant by the fintech organizations. The second one in retail helps the FMCG, e-commerce and retail organizations to service better their customers. TechScale helps the enterprises to adopt AI platforms with minimal issues and headaches. And innovation, or innovate, these are our rocket scientists who look after new and exciting innovative projects and products. AdPicker is our last tribe looking after the advertising industry. Now, our success would not be real without our cloud partners such as Microsoft Azure, AWS, or our key partner, Databricks. Last year, we received a Rising Star Award by Deloitte as one of our fastest growing companies in Central Europe in artificial intelligence and machine learning. All that success, however, would not be possible without our customers. Well, I would like to mention just those critical ones whom we have the privilege of being partners with in banking and insurance, in telco, media, entertainment, retail, and e-commerce. And now let us start with introducing 4 key use cases that we observe on the market are actually popular and they bring attention. So the very first one is all about having all the data and analytics in one unified, consolidated place, migrating from various source systems on-premise to the cloud. The next one is fighting fraud, enabling the risk departments with an automated and additional information aside from what they have. The third one is about making more businesses with offering customers personalized experience that many times is not present. And the last one is about deploying one field of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that's the natural language processing, which is used to uncover trends and sentiment analyses in vast amounts of data that previously have not been analyzed. And now I would like to turn again to my colleagues to talk about the first area about the data migration to cloud with Databricks.
Camilla, can you unmute yourself, please?
Is it Ellie or Camilla who's taking?
I think Ellie's going to discuss this. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me. So this covers a few of our marquee clients, particularly in the financial services arena. We work with over 5,000 customers globally, and the financial services sector is actually our fastest growing segment. Sorry, have we skipped forward?
Yeah, sorry. What is it that we have done?
So
here, we are here.
So Databricks, kind of from a data and an AI perspective, Databricks grew from organizations who were using data warehousing and organizations who were using data lakes. So data warehousing, many of you are probably using already. We've seen a growing trend for customers to move their warehouse to the cloud. Data warehouses are great, however, generally are restricted by way of the types of data that can be used in data warehouses, and they tend to also be used by your business analytics and visualization user personas. Then many organizations have subsequently built data lakes to deal with much greater volumes of data and to process data from a kind of batch streaming perspective, along with unstructured and video type of content. Particularly as many of us are using analytics on for example, social media data, there's been a real growth in data lakes. There's a lot of debate about who came up with the Lakehouse concept, which is effectively stealing the best parts of data warehouses and data lakes and pulling them together into a lakehouse with a great view. So this effectively allows governance over a data lake. So it pulls in a lot of the benefits you would have had from a data warehouse, particularly around governance and security, which are generally very important areas for our enterprise clients. And data lakehouses take advantage of the capabilities within Databricks built on Delta, and deliver great performance for analytics and data science at scale. There are some key use cases that we've been working with the teams at DataSentics from, which over the course of this session we can go into in more detail. And if you're interested from an architecture perspective in lakehouses and what they can bring over and above a warehouse or a data lake, Bill Ingman, the father of big data, wrote an amazing blog about this that we can share afterwards.
Yeah, okay, perfect. That was really good background knowledge there and understanding. So to help you understand a bit more about where Databricks comes into play in the financial services space, we thought we'd share with you a customer use case with ABN AMRO. So ABN AMRO are the third largest bank in the Netherlands. They have over 100 different branches, more than 30 different thousand employees. And essentially their mission came to be that they are becoming customer centric and improving the banking space for generations to come. So the way they've ultimately embodied that is by beginning their big data journey, which actually began with a single marketing intelligence data warehouse, where they housed interactions with marketing and with their consumers and their clients. This data warehouse then ultimately grew into a web of on-premise data warehouses, which were focused on marketing, on risk, and financial support for customers. As I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, this web soon became complex, it became siloed, and ultimately ABN AMRO ended up with disparate systems. The challenge here for ABN AMRO was because they were striving and aiming to become a customer-centric organization that was improving banking for generations to come. Their technology did not allow them to get that outcome and that action and get where they wanted. And ultimately, by having multiple platforms and different siloed data systems, it meant three things. It meant that customers weren't given a single view of themselves on the ABN AMRO platform. And so that way, ABN AMRO ultimately weren't able to deliver that level of customer experience that they were striving for. It meant that the data teams were ultimately working across a lot of different platforms, which impacted productivity. It impacted the ability for ABN AMRO to innovate. And also it impacted the use cases which they wanted to roll out in the future. They had a lot of data, but without the ability to take action on it. And so what ABN AMRO did was by moving the multiple data warehouses across to Databricks, they were able to standardize their entire ETL data processing process on Databricks, which provided an open, a simple and collaborative platform for not only data engineers, but beyond the data science and the machine learning and the BI team to be able to work on. And so it removed the challenges around compliance and regulatory requirements as well, which obviously we all know is very heavy in the financial services space. And so ultimately by moving this onto Databricks, they were able to also deliver on 3 new use cases. One of them being in fraud detection. Obviously, that's a huge focal area for a lot of banks and financial services organizations. So right now, ABN AMRO is able to use Databricks through machine learning to be able to identify anomalous behavior, to be able to prevent fraudulent activity such as money laundering from happening with their customers. The other area that they're able to work on is with business operations. That's able to improve with data and AI. So from a customer support perspective, they're now able to have a complete view of their customer with every interaction from initial engagement to driving that customer to be with ABN AMRO for generations to come. And lastly, now on Databricks, ABN AMRO is able to react to customer preferences faster than ever before. So ultimately, they're able to now provide product recommendations that are relevant to customers and are able to provide that level of personalization. So the outcomes from this are that obviously ABN AMRO is working towards their goal of becoming a data and customer-centric banking platform. But from a more technological point of view, ABN AMRO is now able to deploy use cases such as fraudulent detection, improving business operations and customer personalization 10 times faster than previously. So use cases are able to be rolled out in a matter of 8 weeks. And what that means for ABN AMRO is that they're able, it's lowered the cost to which they can begin to be curious and begin to roll out different use cases to position themselves as a banking leader in Europe. That's overall a good summary of the work that ABN AMRO is doing on Databricks.
Thank you, Camilla. And I move to the second use case. Before I do that, however, I have just 3 things to say on the housekeeping. As I'm seeing number of people coming, and some of them dropped already as well, is the webinar is recorded, so it will be available afterwards. So whoever came a little bit late, do not worry. You will be able to have a look at the first 5 minutes perhaps that you've missed. So that's the first one. The second one is, yes, the presentation will be available after the webinar, not an issue. I think there are 2 choices how you can get that. Is either you drop me an email, which is going to be at the end of the presentation, you will see my email, or you drop me a LinkedIn invite or a note that you would like to receive that presentation. So it will be available, and I will talk to our marketing that we will make it available to download anyway. So it's going to be ready. And then the third item is material regarding the Lakehouse and architecture that was asked in the chat. We will also have it available for you, and we will send one. If anyone else needs something like that as well, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to get me a note by email, which is unlike the name under the picture. My name is Bob. Jan is organizing the event for us. He's our master of ceremony, one would say. So now I will continue with the second of the use cases, which is the risk and the fraud and threat detection with many organizations who already have their risk systems and credit scoring systems. So what we do is we enhance those with our customers with new information and make available valuable analysis and further predictions of of the fraud. We don't replace the system, we just enhance them with a new way of looking at the information. So traditionally, all these systems are rule-based. What we add, what we combine it with is with graph technology, with the graph-based scoring, and then also with the anomaly detection through clustering. And that we do all in real time. We establish the probability of default based on the customer's digital behavior, and then what the users get is they get a manual exception report that they can either, as you see in the right-hand corner, that they can either investigate, or they can approve, or they can simply reject. So with one of our real customers, a major global insurance house, we have been looking at improving the fraud detection, selected customers who were identified as fraud. We have then selected the similarly behaving customers and checked those for fraud as well. Here, the key factors were car mileage, age, and the time spent on the website, which is an indicator whether somebody is actually looking for something, or looking a longer time, or whether it's just hopping on pictures, etc. So that enabled us to identify up to 25% more fraud cases with the customer. Moving on to the next one, which is the personalized experience in banking, insurance, and even in retail and FMCG. These are very close to my heart. I'm sure you have a similar experience that I do. Over the last 30 odd years, I have never received any one single personalized message from my bank knowing or telling me that, oh, by the way, you should take a school loan, you should take a school loan for your kids or for anyone, or you need to refinance your mortgage because the interest rates have dropped. So none of that happened. None of that ever happened with the bank that I have. And for sure, you may have a similar experience. So what happens in real life is that the websites that they produce, they have a confusing terms and conditions. They have a chatbot that is a nuisance rather than help. Then the bankers not necessarily know when you stop using the application or when you start banking with the competition. It's really the competition who knows best that you need or want to refinance your loan. And then you go to the branch and simply the knowledge is not there. At the branch, they sell mortgages without any reason why. So that's truly a common problem that has been identified to us as well throughout the interactions with our customers, that simply vast amount of data is there, but the customer journeys are not understood well, and all the needs of the customers are not understood very well. Instead, many of the organizations, they are stuck in a development, custom developments, or buying all sorts of magical tools deemed to be able to help them. So one would ask, how would you like to solve that problem? How would you like to solve the banks not becoming irrelevant by the fintechs? Well, one could borrow the idea from the Googles and the Facebooks of the earth and simply provide personalization in return for the data that the customers give them. Now, that is actually, as been discussed already earlier in the data warehouse, data lake, and data lakehouse space. This is where this use case is very, very positive or potential, that we are able to get the data, your data, and take the digital behavior of the applications and the web and the advertisements, and also get from the data warehouses or all sorts of transactional systems like CRMs or ERPs, etc. We get that data as well, the behavior data. We push it into an application, we call it Persona 360, that sits in your cloud, either the Amazon or Microsoft Azure or GCP. And with the tools from Databricks, we then actually push this information into the campaign tools that you have. So it's all what you have, we just enhance it with the segmentation and personalization. So the customers get better experience, they get personalized communication, save costs by using only the relevant attributes that you need for the campaign. And you also gain a single point of truth and an easy access for the business people as such. Moving on to the third one, as mentioned, the natural language processing, which is not only for the call centers, but basically is for emails, chats, or net presenter score responses, etc., analyzing any documents, one could say any voice, video, document, etc., that analyzes the trends, can analyze the complaints, suggestions that are in the emails or in the recommendations, etc., and any communication that you may have with your customers. So these are, at the end, you also gain sentiment analyses by looking at the raw data, converting into the text data and analyzing then the text, the patterns, the trends, and the likes and moves. So I'll leave you here for a second with some of the results that have been achieved by our customers, where we did transcripts of call centers in their call center, identified the particular topics about the complaints and how they developed over time. For another insurer, we've been able to, through the transcript, develop a model that is helping them to avoid the churn. And then in the final one in the bank, identified the client's interest that was based on articles where the customers read on the internet. So basically helping them to look at the prediction in specific financial area based on what they find as interest on their website. I think we are getting towards the end of our webinar, or the first webinar. I hope it's been a little bit of a teaser for you to some extent with all 4 of these topics that we have mentioned today, the 4 use cases. We will, and I will show you very shortly what we plan to do. Now, as one call to action for you might be, if you are interested, if your organization is interested, might want to migrate some of the business intelligence analysis, data science data that we can help you with a migration assessment. It's an analysis that will actually give you an idea about where you are, the maturity, what will be the value if you migrate, and then suggest how that migration would look like, including a consumption and expense plan and the business value for your organization once you move. In the end, also, it will show you the roadmap to production. So if you have not started and you don't know where, you don't know how, then we help you to create the piping. We help you to, even with as a sort of surrogate, so we help you to staff your teams. If you already have the teams, you think about the use cases, you want to be able to do the use cases, we can help your organizations, your teams to with actually executing those use cases in a pilot, proof of concept, MVP, and then bring them to production. So for the call to action is for further information, if you're interested in joining us in the webinars or if you want a custom one, here is the email address for your interests. And then the plan is to have subsequent, more detailed webinars for those use cases that we have introduced, the data migration with Databricks, that will be on the 13th of October, risk and fraud, threat detection to predict all the warning signs that your organization may be threatened with. That will be on the 3rd of November, and another 3 weeks later will be the personalized experience for you to grow your top line and predict what the customers may want to buy next. And then the final one, just before Christmas on the 15th of December, we plan to do the call for call centers or for your email centers or for your chat centers to see and look for trends and concerns around your products and your services. Now, Jan has prepared a survey for you. So if I may ask you to go in and do a little voting for us. Who would like to attend? It's a multiple choice, so you can attend one, you can attend none, or you can attend all of them if you wish to. We will send you an invitation again for the webinars that we plan to do. So I think we will wait a little bit for you to respond. I will give you another 1 or 2 minutes if this is okay with you. For now, we are nearing a 50% of your responses. So actually, I need to do that. Myself to see how. How you respond, whether you can click no, not interested, or I'm interested only in the risk fraud, or I'm interested in the personalized experience only or all. So it'll be interesting to see. And the other is, once we are complete, we are about 60% complete. So we'll give you another 1 more minute for you to conclude, and then we'll let you know what was the response, how you voted, what you are interested in. So we'll give you another few more moments. So I think we can conclude and the voting now. We have 65% of the votes, and the winner is the data migration to cloud, which was 45%. Risk is obviously, and the personalized experience on the high note as well with 35%, and the NLP with 18%. So fantastic, thank you so much. And this is, I'll leave it for now for this moment, so you can actually click on the LinkedIn in your presentation. That will bring you to the website where you can register for the webinar if interested. We will also have those who clicked the webinar, so we will send you invitations as well. And if there is any other information that you need from either of us, let me collect that for me on the by sending me an email if you wish. Okay. And now I think what we would like to do is we would like to open for a Q&A. And I'm told in the Q&A what we can do is we just read from the questions that you have. So if you want to ask anything right now, you can do that by typing in the message, and we'll give it another 5 minutes, and then we can look how we share the responses. So the first one was presentation will be available. Yes. Receive some material regarding Lakehouse. Yes. Will be provided for you. Not an issue. And let us wait for another 1 minute, and then we'll see if there are any questions. So it seems that we have someone who's typing, so we'll wait for another 1 minute. And on behalf of our team, I'd like to thank Ellie and Camilla for your lovely participation. What particular metrics do you use for fraud detection? What we use for fraud detection is, let me share with the slide with you, is we using a risk score, and that risk score we actually attain by not only the rules-based systems, but also we look at connections between individual users or individual customers. Plus also we use the detection of anomalies. So we basically know and have the information from both the financial services institutions about how do they actually view what is risk and fraud. So we have the definition, and then in the base that we have, in the information, in the data that we have, we look for a similar projected features of that same customers, what they do, what they have, how they behave, and who basically overlap or map the behaviors in the system, sort of in the cloud system outside the risk scoring. Thank you, everyone. If there are any questions, you can easily reach me by email. If there will be any questions to our lovely colleagues from Databricks, I will channel them through as well. So again, thank you, Jan, for organizing the event, helping us to organize the event. Camilla, Ellie, same here. Thank you so much. Appreciate. And to all of our attendees, very, very warm thank you for attending and your interest in the webinar. And I'm looking forward, on behalf of all of us, to hear from you and see you next time when we're around. Thank you so much. And bye for now. Bye, Camilla. Bye, Ellie. Bye, everyone. All the best. Thank you so much.